it is another spectacular day here in southern Arizona. And it just makes you feel so good to be outside and be alive and be in the sunshine. And, I can hear the birds chirping, and it's a nice light breeze, and it's about, I don't know, in the lower 70s, something like that. I saw in the news that all the casinos in Las Vegas were shut down. And I know they've put barricades where cars can't even get through, and I think that they're now even prohibiting pedestrians from walking through. So I thought this might be a good chance to tell you about when I went to Mandalay Bay Casino a few weeks ago. The last video was about how I had to find a storage unit for my camper and truck. And this video picks up right where that left off when I left the storage facility. I looked on the map, and the closest casino, it appeared to me, was Mandalay Bay. Something they do out here out west, they don't do it back east, is when you choose which Lyft car you're going to take, you can choose the option of getting a car with somebody else. I would say, I think it was $2 or $3 cheaper. I had nothing but time to kill. And I thought, I should do this, and maybe he'll pick up somebody interesting. Anyway, the driver came and picked me up, and then he went and picked up the next person, which did wind up being a really interesting person. So he picked up this guy who was doing a puppet show at that time for kids. I think that was at least his destination, to go to a small school and do a puppet show.
These things have got to love this. Got to have a lot of work to do this weekend.
So they talk back and forth, those two?
Oh well, no, but
they're separate shows.
Well, yeah, they're both in the show, but they don't actually interact.
Okay. What's this one's name over here?
His name will be Numbskull. This is all for a show I wrote called Portside Story. And Portside Story is a spoof of West Side Story. We'll have workshops for all ages. Like, we have hand puppet workshops. We have, like, Elmo-looking monster workshops. I'm going to have a Shark Week, for specialty things. I made myself a Meeseeks from Rick and Morty. He's kind of a, plain-looking character. I was like, I'm going to make a Meeseeks that I can make. And, we'll have birthdays, workshops, shows in the summer for kids to come see. It's going to be awesome.
Well, that's great. So I talked to him for a few minutes, and he and a friend of his were starting this new side business. I think his normal job is in the area of drama. I don't know if he said he was a drama director or a drama teacher or something along that line. But he said that he and his friend had been doing this for about 8 years, and they were actually going to start up a workshop where you could come in and, I think, build your own puppet. And I took a quick look at the website. It looked very well done. So I enjoyed chatting with John and hearing about his plans for the future. So I think it'd be a great thing to do with the kids. So if any of you are in the Las Vegas area and want to have something new and fun to do with the kids, check out their website. I went to Mandalay Bay and went inside. And one of the first things you see when you go inside is they have a man-made beach. Now, Las Vegas is in the desert. So, when you think desert, you don't think beach. But, I took a look at it, not because I was going to go in it, but because I wanted to see if it actually had sand in it. I don't believe I saw any sand there, but it was gated off, and it's really just for the guests. I suppose you could pay a fee and, go in there, but that wasn't my purpose of being there, so I didn't do that. But it was pretty interesting that they had that. It seemed to be, fairly busy. It was a bright, sunny day, and so I took a few minutes to take a look at that. So right when you walk past the beach, if you keep going straight, you get to their area where they have a thing you can go to called a Shark Reef Aquarium. And it was $22 to get in. And so I said, well, this would be a good way to, use my time. I got nothing else to do. So I went up there and bought my ticket, and there was a young guy, and he was like, I guess he was just trying to be friendly and personable. He goes, so are you just in the area for, a couple of days, or are you out here a long time? I said, I'm actually here just wasting some time. I'm just gonna fly back home. I've been out here traveling. He says, oh, you travel? I said, yeah. I said, I've been traveling around the U.S. pretty much. I have a camper, and I've been doing it for about almost 3 years now. And he said, oh, wow, I would love to do that. I have to be reminded every now and then how privileged and lucky I am to be able to do that. So anyway, I got my ticket and I went up the escalator to the Shark Reef Aquarium. Of course, the first thing they want to do is take your picture. And I totally don't let them do that because it's really for families, you know, where you have 2 or 3 people together and you want to have a picture to commemorate it. So I went inside and, you know, looked through a lot of different aquariums in there. They had some sharks. And they had a number of different types of sea creatures. You know, they had the fish. In some of the tanks, you could tell they were feeding those fish because those fish were kind of going to the surface in a frenzy, you know. One of my favorite tanks they had there was the jellyfish, and they had the black light on so you could see the jellyfish, and it was just really mesmerizing. It's almost like looking at the clouds move. You know, you could just stare at it forever. They just seem to have a little bit of everything. And they even had one area where you could, like a tunnel, you know, you could walk through it and you could look all around you and, you know, all up above and on the sides, and there was, you know, water, and you could see all the different fish swim by and sharks and so forth. So that must be really exciting, especially for the kids. Okay, so the rest of my story will be continued in the next video. We're going to take a break here. And I'm going to tell you about something that just happened to me that you may find interesting. So, I've been in my trailer. I was on the computer, and I had my trailer door wide open, which I very often do. I mean, I didn't even have the screen door open. I just had the whole thing open. And so I hear this buzzing, and I look around. I see that a bee has flown in. Looked like a honeybee. So I don't like to kill things. So I kind of just followed it around, and, you know, I had a fly swatter, and I was just going to kind of nudge it, you know, in the direction of the door to get it to leave. And this is what I usually do, even with flies. I just don't like the habit of just running around killing every single thing just because it comes within my space. So, the bee doesn't take the hint, and he winds up getting down in this little ledge. It's a ledge that is next to some cabinets. So somehow, he's in this ledge, and he finds his way inside that cabinet, because I can hear him buzzing around and bumping up inside the cabinet trying to get out. So I was like, okay, buddy, I'll let you out. So I open the door. He comes flying out, and he goes right for the opening, and he goes right out. I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad we're done with this problem. So then I thought, well, maybe it would be a good idea for me to close the screen door because, you know, I might have a few come in here and I have to do this all over again. So I closed the screen door this time. Sat back down at my computer. So probably not even 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes later, I start noticing all this buzzing, all these bees coming. This time I had 4 and 5 and 10, and I started looking at the screen door, and there was a bunch of bees there trying to get in. So apparently, and I didn't even know this was a phenomenon, but apparently that bee, when he was stressed out, put out some kind of a stress, I guess, smell or pheromone. Either that or some kind of pheromone that says this is a new place to nest. Whatever the case, I have all these bees now trying to get into my trailer. A lot of them. They were all at my window looking for a spot in the screen. They were all at my door. and I have a few little holes in my screen, you know, at my door. So I was like, Mark, don't panic. Just calm down and think it through. And, you know, after a few minutes, it started getting a little bit terrifying because, you know, I began to think about, you know, you've seen these things on TV where these bees just somehow find their way into a car and there's like 10,000 of them in there and, you know, they sting somebody to death. And I started, you know, getting these kinds of thoughts, you know, and I was thinking, well, you know, if these bees don't go away, you know, in a few minutes, I'm going to have to take some kind of action because I only have one entrance and one exit to the trailer. So there's no way I was locked in my trailer. You know, trailers are not airtight. You know, you might think they are, but they're not. Anything but. So I thought, what am I going to do? So why don't we change it up a bit? Instead of me telling you what I did, why don't you tell me what you would have done? Just leave it in the comments. So we're going to end the video here. Be sure and join me in the next video for part 2 of my trip to Mandalay Bay. And we're going to end out the video with a nice time lapse I recorded, and I think you might enjoy. Take care.